starting lineup for your Hastings Raiders, introducing their defensive starters this evening.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to McNamara Stadium here as we get set for a matchup here between the Park Wolfpack and the Hastings Raiders here on HCTV Sports. I'm your host, Owen Ely, here with my broadcast partner for the night, the WRFW legend and the pride of St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin, Reagan Hooverman. Reagan, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great. I'm excited. Friday night. You know, it's a perfect night, beautiful night for some high school football, and we've got a great contest ahead of us.
Absolutely. This should be a good one. A little bit of a cold night here, but I think everybody's going to stay warm, and, you know, it's always exciting when we can, progress through this, truncated football season.
That's right. It's been a unique season, and, you kind of get into the matchup here. You start looking at the Hastings offense. It's a big-time rushing team. They focus on running the football, and that's what they're specialized in. It's a three-headed attack. You start with Brendan Fryerman with 26 attempts on the season so far, which is, in a high school football game, that's a big carrying load. 105 yards a game, 4 yards a carry. So the offense is going to start by running through him.
Absolutely, and they have a nice change of pace running back as well. Burrow, short, speedy back, and 5 carries for 29 yards, and really every time he touched the ball, he nearly scored a touchdown in that game versus Henry Sibley, and believe me, a touchdown in that game would have really opened that up. I mean, the box score does not tell the entire situation when you look at a 12-0 game.
Absolutely. You start with a 12-0 game. It's like, yeah, you beat the opponent, but it's not exactly a dominant showing, although you do shut them out. And if you add a touchdown on top of that, I mean, you talk about Peyton Burrow, a guy, like you said, 5 carries, 29 yards. We're talking about 5.8 yards a carry. You get into that 5-6 range, especially when it's first and 10, to move the chains. You get into that 6 yards a carry range, you're looking at an elite back.
And there we just saw a look at head coach Dana Strain for the Hastings Raiders. Should be a good one here as we're just minutes away.
And one more thing on this rushing attack for the Hastings Raiders. You take a look at it, yeah, Fryermuth's been dominant. Burrow's got almost 6 yards a carry, which has been fantastic as well. You look at Axel Arnold, that starting quarterback. I mean, he's produced on the ground as well. 5 carries, 29 yards. He's getting it done as well. 10 carries, 44 yards, 4.5 a carry. That's really good for a starting quarterback on the ground.
Oh, absolutely, and this should be a good one. The Battle of Highway 61.
Love to hear that.
Absolutely, and Hastings really not missing a beat too. They lost their starting quarterback from last year, Dylan Wagner. They lost Devin McSorley to the Falcons. And they really haven't missed a beat here with some of the key pieces offensively. It'll be interesting to see how they get the 6'5" Stephen Reifenberger into the game.
Absolutely. So we get set here. Should be a good game.
Set for the kickoff here. Simon Hedin on the kickoff here for the Raiders. And we are underway here from McNamara Stadium. This one's going to be fielded and fumbled there at the 2-yard line. Picked up here by a Wolfpack returner. Over to the near side, tries to get around the edge and taken down by the knees there at the 16-yard line.
And you got to wonder if it's nerves, if he doesn't have a ton of experience returning kickoffs, but big chance right there. That's how you win some of these close games. If one team doesn't have a distinct advantage over the other, special teams is usually the thing that kind of flips that balance.
And that was Micah Runyon on the return there. He'll be a large part of what this Park offense is going to try to do on the ground here tonight. We'll get a 1st and 10 here from the 16-yard line. 2 receivers on the far side. We're going to hand off up the middle here over to the near side, and they're going to push the pile back there, about a gain of 2 yards on the play.
And this is a Park offense. Although they've run the ball fairly well so far through their first game of the season, this is an offense that has been focused on the passing attack. They love to spread it out, kind of an air raid school, and it's going to be an interesting balance between Hastings focusing on that rushing attack and Park working through the air.
Park's led by their junior quarterback, Evan Berth. He'll take the snap, fake the handoff, will roll out to the far side, has some time to throw, throws it. He's going to be bobbled and lands there at the 35-yard line.
An option play right there, and he sails the receiver running through the flat. Trying to target the 6'5" tight end, and he can't come through with it.
Yeah, when you're a tall tight end, you're typically your quarterback's safety blanket. Certainly first year of starting here for Berth. And they've had some pretty good quarterbacks over the last couple of years. They have a quarterback, I forget the guy's name, but I went to school with him. He's up there at Bemidji State, playing for the Beavers. 3rd and 7, handoff up the middle. Had some steam, but he's going to be taken down well short of the first down marker.
And noticing just this first possession for the Park offense, in which they go 3 and out and are going to have to punt the football away. A lot of motion so far, a lot of inside handoffs, and especially on 3rd down and 7 yards. I'm not sure if I like the inside draw call. It's 7 yards. You've shown you can pass the football well through the first game, and instead it's a draw. Now it's a 3 and out, and Hastings will get the football.
Hastings nearly blocked a punt in their first game versus Henry Sibley. We'll have Joey Milner back to receive. Odd snap, and that one's nearly blocked. Wobbler, and a major hit levied there at the 48-yard line, but some very good field position here for the Raiders to start their first possession of the night.
And as the Raiders offense gets set to come on the field here, you got to expect them to come out with that 3-headed monster. The quarterback's got wheels as well. And you expect to see Freiermuth and what he can do in his first possession here with the football. They've got good field position, and try and get up early here with 10 minutes to go in this first quarter.
Absolutely. You look at the first game, 12-0. But this has been a very tough time, not knowing if football is going to be played in the spring or if it's going to be played into the fall.
Absolutely.
And, Henry Sibley is a team that hasn't won a game since October of 2017, so I could understand why some fans might be negative. But when you look deeper into it, as we'll get some whistles here, it still was a very solid win for Hastings. They controlled the game.
Do we have a timeout here, or I don't see the reason for stoppage yet. Clock isn't correct. So they're going to reset the clock here.
They're going to try to add
about 10 seconds onto this clock.
Gotta love the Battle of Highway 61.
And one thing you notice so far here through, this first possession for each team, it looks like the Hastings defense hasn't really missed a step yet. A shutout in their first game of the season, now getting a 3 and out to start this second game.
So we'll return back to the action here. It's a pistol formation, 3 receivers on the near side, Knoll in motion. Low snap. It's going to be handed off to Freiermuth. Had a good burst of energy there, taken down at the 45-yard line.
And this is exactly like I was saying before that first play of this drive. You're going to focus on Freiermuth and see how far he can get you. Right there, you'd say 6 yards on the carry, and a good start to this first possession for the Hastings Raiders.
Raiders are led by first-year starter, junior quarterback Axel Arnold. Probably one of the cooler names I've heard for a starting quarterback, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at a man in motion here, 3 receivers set. Arnold hands it off to Freiermuth, and he's going to run into a good amount of opposition there, but still going to get about 2 or 3 yards on the carry.
Looks like it'll be 3rd down and short for this Hastings offense.
Freiermuth.
You got to imagine they go back.
He's going to run into a good amount of opposition there, but still going to get about 2 or 3.
Arnold.
Yeah, Freiermuth, great size for a running back, 6'2", 200 pounds, great first burst. Really, you might not see him go for 50-yard runs all the time, but you really never see him going backwards.
Absolutely. It's going to be consistency for him.
Key 3rd down here in the first quarter. We'll get a man in motion, the slot receiver to the near side. Hand off Freiermuth. He'll have a block, and he's going to get the first down.
Woo. It's going to be close, but it looks like they're going to move the chains. And that's exactly like you were saying before that play. This is a guy, he might not be flashy, he might not break off 25-yard runs, but he's going to get you 4, 5, 6 yards of carry. And that's what's going to keep the chains moving and eventually put points on the board.
Yeah, you can really feel the energy that he has when he gets on these runs.
And that's the thing that helps a lot with this Hastings offense so far. They're going to be in tight formations. They're going to have a lot of blockers. This is not a spread offense where you're always going to see a lot of receivers. There's going to be a lot of motion and a lot of run up the middle.
Reifenberger, the 6'5" receiver here on the near side, tight end in motion to the far side. Arnold, snap, Freiermuth, hit at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to fall forward for maybe half a yard on the carry.
And that's a play where the defensive line just won.
6'5" receiver here on the near side, tight end in motion to the far side.
Scrimmage on that play, and you see it
Arnold,
immediately.
snap, Freiermuth, hit at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to fall forward for. So he's actually going to lose a yard on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 11 here.
And you got to wonder, is this going to be a down 2nd and long where they stay committed to the ground game, or do they potentially open it up here and try and get some yards through the air?
Well, and they certainly love playing in this specific formation. Man in motion, but
We got, looks like potentially a false start here. Laundry flies. The yellow flags are out.
And that is ice cold laundry.
6'5"
receiver here on the near side. Tight end in motion to the far side. Arnold.
Oh wow! So the play clock actually expired. They get a delay of game penalty, and instead of 2nd and 11, now it's 2nd and 16.
Well, I suppose it's certainly always the risk that you run when you run plays in motion. Another motion play here. Arnold throws it, and just over the outstretched fingertips there of Peyton Burrow.
And that's that third running back, and that three-headed monster just runs a little route, kind of that wheel route looking thing, out of the right side of the backfield, and he just missed him. I mean, he's wide open. He's got big yards ahead, and now you're in some tough territory here if you're a Hastings Raiders fan. This is 3rd and 16 on your own 46.
And that kid can fly, 5'6", 150 pounds. He is the fastest player on the field.
Exactly, and that's the thing about Park. They're really happy he missed that throw, because if that guy gets out in open space, it's going to be a tough tackle.
3rd down and long here. 2 receivers on the near side. Arnold, low snap, rolls out to the far side. Throw, catch is made at the 40 to the 35, and he gets tripped up. It's going to be short of the first down marker that was caught there by Lucas Knoll.
I think this is 4-down territory. It's going to end up being about 4th and 4, 4th and 5 maybe. It's clearly going to be too far for a field goal.
Pass is complete to number 11, Steven Reifenberger. Brought down by Blake Johnson. Gain of 4 on the play and a Raider first down. Fryer moved the ball carrier. Three-yard gain on the play. Brings up 2nd and 7.
Definitely an interesting layout here from historic McNamara Stadium, one of the more unique stadiums in the Twin Cities.
Beautiful football field. And that's the thing I've noticed so far, especially with Axel at the helm, is whenever they pass, it looks like they're trying to get him to boot out. There's going to be a lot of motion. He's going to be moving out of the pocket. And that's a testament to his ability to move the chains with his legs. We've seen him carry the football here so far through the first game of the season. And it looks like the offense is kind of designed around that ability.
So I'm curious, not to put you on the spot here, but can you decipher anything from this Park defense so far? As well as the quarterback rolling out to the near side. Catch is made by Knoll, and he's going to be torn down a bit awkwardly there inside the 25-yard line.
And it's okay to put me on the spot. I just wanted to let that play out first. But the thing that I've noticed is they're playing a lot of soft coverages to start the football game. They're not exactly stacking the box, but when it's on those shorter downs, like we saw out in your midfield, it was like 3rd and 3, and then it was on 4th and 4. Both of those plays, they sent heavy pressure and decided to blitz the quarterback. And I'd like to see some of that, especially if you're a Park fan. I'd like to see that a little bit earlier on in the downs instead of giving this quarterback so much time to work around.
Well, I am an alum of Park High School. Would you believe me if I told you I had my name on their Wall of Fame?
Wow, Wall of Fame.
Well, you shouldn't believe me because I just
I
died.
was going to say, I don't know, what have you done?
WFW legend.
Exactly. That's
Rolling out to the near side, and that one just sailed a little bit over the 6'5" Reifenberger. Bit of a wobbler.
And maybe someday you'll be on the Wall of Fame.
One can hope.
You never know. Do you have to come back and give a speech if that happens? Or, what goes on there?
I would hope so. I'll give like a Rudy speech or something. So it's a turnover on downs there for the Raiders. Not ideal field position here for Park. They'll take over at the 22.
Under 5 minutes to go here in this first quarter. Still knotted up at zeros.
So we'll see if Park can fare any better here on their second possession here of the first quarter, as we'll get a sizable run there up the middle of about 9 yards.
A good start right there on their second possession of this game for the Park offense. Still staying committed to the running game, even though haven't had much success, especially going back to their first drive, but now starting to move the ball, and they've got 2nd and 2 coming up unless they...
They'll have a first down here. They'll signal.
The chains have just moved.
I didn't need Jim Sturm to tell me that one.
I was going to say, they had it marked as 2nd and 2 for like 2 minutes.
So a fresh new set of downs here for the Wolfpack. Handoff up the middle and torn down from behind there. That was Cameron Olson on the tackle for loss.
The 6'3" linebacking senior, an absolutely fantastic tackle coming off the edge right there. And wrapping him up to make it a gain of only about 2 yards.
2-yard gain brings up 2nd and 8.
So this first quarter here flying by, just 4 minutes to go. Park will have 2 receivers here on the near side. One of them Brady Perryman, the lead receiver here for the green and white.
I'm going to shotgun.
Man in motion. And he's going to be torn down there by Cameron Olson. First sack of the night there for Hastings.
And I like that defensive play call. You send some pressure from the linebackers, the D-line getting after it. You tell your 2 corners and your two safeties to drop back into coverage, and the pressure gets home. And now suddenly, Park is facing third and very long.
Well, we'll see if they can get the aforementioned Brady Perryman involved into the game. Little interesting fact: I coached him in soccer when he was a 5-year-old.
Wow, pulling the nugget out. You love to see that.
So I don't want to say everything he does is because of me, but I was a great coach for 5-year-old soccer. And they're going to get nowhere on that one. Maybe not the wisest play call to run it up the middle on 3rd and long.
I think it's fair to say you developed a young star. I mean that's on you. Young coaching has a lot of influence. Now playing varsity football.
I mean, that was his formative years.
Some loose connections there. We'll say it.
And listen, maybe he plays at the next level. Park has had some players play in college. Aaron Gores played for Minnesota Duluth. Jeb Melson played for Southwest Minnesota State. A very high snap here and a very low punt. That is going to be a dangerous thing to watch as this game goes on. And they'll down it there at the 49-yard line.
2 punts for Park, and 2 have come within inches of being blocked. So really good coverage so far for that Hastings Raiders special teams, and now starting essentially near midfield once again for their second possession. And at some point here, your defense continues to play like that. Special teams has done their job. The offense has to punch it in and score some points.
Yeah, listen, they're playing solid fundamentals, good running up the middle, and, plays like the Burrow play, you run that enough times, that's going to go in your favor. It didn't go that time, but generally, if you keep playing like this, it's going to work out for you.
And look at this size advantage down here on the near side. Reifenberger's probably got 7 inches on the corner.
It's like Megatron and Josh Robinson.
Man.
Handoff up the middle, and Burrow might get a yard on that one. Ran into that Park front 4.
And that's one thing you have to think about. I know when we did a lot of football games together back in our heyday at WRFW, and we had a similar situation where we had a receiver that was 6'7", although Reifenberger's 6'5". Still, you've got such a size advantage. At some point, you'd like to take a shot down the sideline, especially when it's single coverage. So watch for that further as this game progresses, because it looks like this right here is man coverage.
It is still my personal contention that Alex Herring should be playing in the NFL, but
Agreed.
I digress. We'll get the snap here. Hand off to Burrow. He'll have some room to run here. Tries a stiff arm, and he's torn down from behind, but he'll get taken down there at the 40-yard line.
And give credit to number 40, Lucas Knoll right there, the 6'1 wide receiver. He makes a block to seal the edge and allows that big gain off the left side. Bursting open the run. Obviously, you give a lot of credit to these backs, but you got to look at the blocks that have been made so far, and they've been excellent to start this football game.
Hastings is going to break the huddle here. New set of downs. Once again, Reifenberger, the receiver here on the near side. 3-receiver set. Knoll in motion. Arnold, pistol snap. He's going to hand it off, a delayed handoff there, and a major hit levied there by Micah Runyon on Burrow.
Talk about lighting him up. That was an absolutely destructive hit.
Yeah, no surprise. Micah Runyon, I believe he had 10 tackles in Park's Week 1 loss against Matamidi.
It's a guy who looks like a field general, is seeing everything and making the plays when they need to be made.
Your leading tackler, your leading rusher. Basically the Chuck Bednarik of the Wolfpack.
What a name, Paul. I love that.
I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation. Jet sweep handoff, and pretty sizable gain there of about 6 or 7 yards, just kind of working their way through that Park defense.
Absolutely. It goes from 2nd and 9, and now you're looking at 3rd and short, and it kind of opens up the playbook. You're not restricted to potentially having to pass the football.
We'll have the big man in here at nose tackle for the Wolfpack, Dom Valadares.
And they don't have to run a play here. Only 18 seconds on the game clock, 25 seconds on the play clock, so they can hold this if they don't like the look that they have here.
Once again, the exact same formation, the exact same motion. Arnold rolls out, cuts up the field.
Woo! Big hit.
And several Wolfpack come in there to make the gang tackle. Is going to be short of the line to gain.
And the receivers haven't exactly gotten open here so far. We've seen that play design several times here throughout the first quarter. They get Axel rolling out to the right, where you'd assume he's comfortable based on the play calling so far, and just nothing open downfield.
You know, and this game is very similar to the Henry Sibley, where there are takeaways you can have, but at the end of the day, it's probably not the best thing to say, but the takeaways don't mean anything because it's still a 0-0 game. Park could have an 80-yard touchdown, and all of the things we could take away from the first quarter mean nothing. So it's interesting trying to see how this Raiders defense tries to work deeper into the red zone, but kind of falters between the 25 and 20-yard line. And you know, some interesting adjustments here from Coach Strain here in the second quarter to be made for sure.
I agree, and that's the thing. Like you know, it's obviously it's high school football, and you want everybody to have success. But the thing is, at some point you have to be done with moral victories, and yeah, it's great you've moved the football so far, but eventually you got to punch it in. You got to make these plays where it's it's just a sailed pass over the running back in the flat, and it's whatever. But Hastings has moved the ball efficiently so far. We're seeing it again here on their second possession. They're gonna have a shot here to start the second quarter to go down and get some points, and you're on the 35-yard line, and at some point you got to put points on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the same discussion we've been having for the last 3 years. Believe you me, we're from River Falls. We know all about moral victories over there.
Yes, sir. It's true, though. It's true.
So we'll switch the sides of the field here. We're going towards the pirate ship now,
Yep.
which you and me are going to commandeer at halftime.
I'd like to see a fake punt here. I actually would. It's 4th and not that long. You're on the 35-yard line.
Well, it's interesting field position as we'll get a dribbler, short punt. A little bit of a really good backspin on that punt to keep it from going into the end zone. And
I think you go for it there.
I do like the punt though in hindsight. I mean, listen, if you bounce that and there's no backspin and it sails into the end zone and they take over at the 20,
then it's a 15-yard punt. You're just
then terrible. It's not worth it. But that was a very good special teams play there by Hastings.
It's a good punt, and that's one thing that I've seen so far. Their punter is averaging 40 yards a kick. I mean, he's clearly got a leg. He's clearly good at it. 0 touchbacks on the season so far, but I don't know. I like being aggressive, and on 4th and medium, I would have went for it. But here we go. Hastings defense back in the field.
Reifenberger, the single high safety, will get a handoff to the near side around the edge, spinning around and torn down there at the 19-yard line for a gain of 7.
We got a flag. You got to wonder if it's a hold on the left side of that offensive line.
Was Blake Johnson on the carry? We'll see what the referees have to say about this.
So they signal holding.
So that is not what the doctor ordered there. If you're a fan of the Park offense, that's going to push him pretty far back here.
So it'll be half the distance to the goal since it occurred inside the 20-yard line. So they'll walk this out, measure it.
Well, you know, given Park's had a couple of offensive possessions and they haven't exactly gone great, you wonder if this is a time, if you're Hastings, where it might be worth it to gamble on sending a lot of pressure here. You know, you might give up a 14-yard catch or something, but it might be worth it to try to catch them sleeping here deep in their own zone.
And so I 100% agree with that. I mean, send some pressure here. Tell your corners and your safeties to drop back, give a little bit so you don't get beat over the top. And, you know, see if you can cause a negative play here and potentially get your offense back to football.
Because even if Park gets a 10-yard run, they're still so deep in their zone.
Agreed.
And somebody moved early there.
So going to the hard count, it looks like they might get some yards back here.
It's always interesting when both sidelines are celebrating and you're trying to figure out, wow, who exactly moved first?
So it looks like it'll be neutral zone infraction. Someone on that defensive line jumped a little bit early for the Hastings Raiders, and now a little bit of maybe a potential sigh of relief here for the Park offense to get away from their own goal line.
So back to a 1st and 11 here. 2 receivers on the far side. We'll get a handoff here on the near side, splitting between the guard and the tackle, and not a whole lot there. A gain of about 2 or 3. Once again, it was Blake Johnson on the carry.
And I could be wrong about this, but does Park have a first down yet? I don't think they do.
Yeah, now that you mention, I don't think they do either. Great shot of there, the quarterback, Berth. Take the snap. Another handoff here over to the near side, and tried to break through the gap and kind of powers his way through there to the 17-yard line.
They love that inside handoff. I mean, that's a play they've run 4 or 5 times already, and when you don't have a first down, it's the second quarter. You don't exactly have a lot of offensive plays, so it's a formation that they clearly like. And now you never know. They could go back to it here on short yardage.
So a 3rd down and 4 here. Bennett Morris, the receiver, at the top of the screen.
A lot of motion here.
Maybe trying to catch the Hastings defense sleeping. Man in motion behind Berth. Another inside handoff up the middle, and they're going to get a first down on this one.
I mean, they love that formation, whether it's the motion, moving the tight ends, the receivers, sending the running backs behind the quarterback there, and whatever it ends up being, it's so often and early it's been that inside handoff.
Well, listen, if you don't have the fastest running backs on the field, I mean, there's no better direction to go than north and south. You're getting every yard you earn.
Absolutely. You don't want to go east and west if you don't got that speed.
Once again, 2 receivers here on the far side. Handoff up the middle. Shot out of a cannon there. They're trying to tear him down from behind. And he'll be forced down there at the 36-yard line.
All right, I don't want to oversimplify this, but they've run the same play 4 plays in a row.
You're telling me there's a common theme.
With just different motions. I mean, yeah, the receivers are moving. You're going to get some of the chip block. The tight end's coming around to the near side. All that doesn't matter. Essentially, you know where the football is going to the same place, and they've done it 4 times in a row here.
Well, I'd love to see Reifenberger in the box. He's a big fella. A great stutter step there.
Oh!
And right through the hands there of Brady Perryman. Would have been a first down and potentially a little bit more if the pass was just a little bit lower.
And Joey Milner, the 5'11 defensive back for this Hastings Raiders defense, trips and falls out near midfield. They've got a wide open completion that has a shot to score. If he can make a man miss, and it sails.
Would have been the first passing touchdown on the year for Park.
And it probably would have been a 70-yarder. Big-time missed shot there for Park.
So a low-scoring affair here. midway through the second quarter.
Is that motion.
Wonder if it'll be an inside run. And look at that, an inside run up the middle, but this time Hastings was pretty wise to it. They're going to let this go on far longer than it should be. I got to be honest, that's my biggest pet peeve. That's how people get injured, by not whistling it down. That's how people get injured. I will say last year I covered a lot of high school football games. That's a common theme with a lot of these referees, and
let it go.
That's absolutely,
yeah.
I don't want to use a word that's too strong, but that's a terrible thing to see.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Especially when it's cold, and when it's cold, you're not sweating.
Yep.
So you cramp really easy because you don't think you need to take in as much water as you need to when you're sweating a lot when it's 90 degrees. I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster. Critical 3rd down and 7. Heavy blitz. And that one thrown over the top, and it's going to be a,
wow,
at least a defensive holding, likely a pass interference call. He was holding him the entire way there. That was Michael Gruel, who had a great forced fumble in week 1.
And it's a shame the flag comes in on that play because it's for the situation. You got 8.5 minutes left approximately. You're out near midfield. It's a big down. I love sending pressure. It gets home. You force an errant throw. And it's bailed out by a penalty by a defensive back.
Well, the reason I don't like it, and I wouldn't have called it because I don't think that's a catchable pass, but you have to know that if you're holding on to the jersey for a 5-yard stretch, that's going to be real obvious to a referee.
And if you're going to do it, you got to hide it better than that. I mean, that's the way they teach it. If you're caught like that, you got to hide it. And then at that point, you just hope the refs don't see it.
So Park is a yard away here from being on the positive side of the field for the first time tonight. Jalata Schenker, the receiver on the near side, a quick throw, a slant, a catch is made at the 45-yard line, and they are on the positive side of the field here following the completion by Evan Berth.
You know, I like that play design. It's simple, it's sweet, it's a smart play call on first down. You send the slot receiver up essentially on a vertical route to kind of flush out what the defensive linebackers are doing. You send the outside receiver over the middle, you get six-ish yards, and it's a great way to get in positive yards for the first time.
Well, and this is not the NFL. This is not college football, so you don't see quarterbacks with 70% completion percentage.
Yes.
I'd love to see more high-percentage slants. That's really a play that you could make often in high school football.
Slants, curls, wheel routes, anything like that.
Another quick throw, and that one just through the fingertips there of Dexter Wright, kind of tripped up on the play.
And what did I just say? Curl routes is one of the things I just detailed, and those are obviously the pass sails and receiver falls, but those are the higher percentage throws that you want to try and make in high school football to jumpstart this offense and be able to open up that running game for what we know is going to be an inside handoff.
Do you have a live feed to Coach Frickland?
Dude, I wish. I mean, maybe this headset's going right to the quarterback's ear. You never know what's going on.
It could. They poached your idea.
That's true.
Once again, another 3rd down here.
Pressure off the edge.
Handoff up the middle, 1st down, and that might have been a lot more if not for some members in the second tier of the defense there, keeping the running back down there at the 36-yard line.
And if you're a Hastings fan, that's a really unfortunate play call. You bring a blitz off the left side, and they run it up the right side. It's a perfect recipe for Park to get big yards, and it's just unfortunate for the Hastings defense.
Ball on the far side hash. The hashes look really far apart here. Handoff over to that far side, trying to get around the edge. Tough to see where he went out of bounds. Likely a gain of 4 or 5 yards.
And now what we had seen Hastings do through that first quarter and the first few minutes of the second quarter, now Park is doing. They've established the run. They're opening it up through the pass game like we saw with the quick slant out near midfield. And now they've got a shot to put points on the board for the first time for either team in this football game.
Well, listen, when the score's 0-0, trends are just conjecture at this point. Fake throw, handoff to the far side. Runyon gets about 3 or 4 on the carry. Time slowly but surely ticking out here in the first half. You hope we don't see a scoreless game to the end, because I don't believe there's overtime given the shortened season.
I agree. Let's see some fireworks.
Handoff, Runyon got past a couple of defenders and pushes his way up the field. Another gain of 5 or 6 yards.
And these last few times, the chains have been moved for Park. Hastings defense, they've gotten there early. They've hit him at the line of scrimmage, and they just haven't been able to bring him down yet.
Well, listen, and you know just as well as I do, that there was a very famous game that was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter that turned out to be a legendary shootout.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Shout out to Evan Lewandowski if you're listening.
9-touchdown performance on that homecoming game, that homecoming day for River Falls, spoiling the party.
Greatest football game I have ever seen. Fresh new set of downs here.
Ooh,
Carry up the middle. He's got a lot of room to run. Touchdown, Wolfpack. Austin Hackinson on a 27-yard touchdown strike.
And give a lot of credit to the play call there. It's the inside handoff they've been going to the whole game. Hastings bites on it. They send all their defenders to the right. It's a reverse sweep handoff to the left, and he's got daylight the whole way. I mean, absolutely fantastic play call. You set him up the whole game so far. You set him up essentially the second quarter. Inside handoff, and then a reverse, and it's wide open.
And they started working their way to the outside a little bit more here as they were nearing the red zone. And listen, the Park interior offensive line split that middle open like it was the Red Sea.
This is the monster formation. This is a Cleveland thing.
Interesting formation here, but looks like they're going to go back to a more traditional formation.
Wow. I wanted to see that. It would have been exciting. So PAT. Oh,
and we'll get a penalty on here.
Is delaying game a personal foul?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. That's like illegal hit, like unnecessary roughness.
Targeting.
Yeah, those are the plays that they tried to eliminate from the game. I don't think that's a personal foul.
So a little bit of a longer extra point here. Trayton Bammert Mueller on the kick.
Oh, my.
And that one's very nearly blocked as the holder is going to get absolutely decked on that one by Noel.
Now we'll probably see a personal foul.
Well, what's the deal with Park special teams? Every single kick they've had, punt or kick, it's nearly blocked.
I have no idea how that wasn't blocked. I mean, I don't even think the hold was set, and there was a guy that shot through the line already. I don't know how you don't block that.
Is it the long snapper? It seems like the ball is taking a long time to get from the center to the holder.
But if you're Hastings, now you're down 7-0, and you should have 3 blocked kicks.
Well, if I'm Hastings, I'm sending everybody on these kicks.
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. So no word here on the flag. At least not yet. You have to wonder if it'll probably be applied on the kickoff here.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be applied on the kickoff. Maybe a little confusion here between the Zebras and the coaches. So we'll have Milner and Xavier Deutsch back deep to return this one.
This will basically be a chip shot kickoff. Now that the penalty's been assessed.
Well, it's an interesting debate. Do you sail this one into the end zone, or do you try to place it at the 10?
I think you place it at 10 and try to get lucky.
I agree with you, but a lot of coaches would disagree.
I mean, the positives just outweigh the negatives here. I think you try to get kind of cute with this and just chip it down there.
Kickoff here from Park. Looks like they were maybe faking an onside kick or something. That's going to be fielded at the 7-yard line. It's Milner. Has some room to run. And he's going to be tackled out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
I was going to say, we almost gave that the announcer jinx. If he goes to the house, all of it was not for us.
Hey, I'm for it. You know, the announcer jinx giveth and it taketh.
It's hilarious and it's true.
It is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
As two salty veterans, I mean, we've seen many announcer jinx.
It's like you say it, and it's just the next play. It just happens.
So, boy, all that talk about pitting them inside the 10. I mean, they got some pretty good field position here.
Now starting, looks like their own 33-yard line. And
Reifenberger, the receiver on the far side. Once again, pistol formation. Tight end in motion. Arnold hands it off to Burrow. He's going to get around the edge at the 40. Puts a stiff arm on there, and he'll be near midfield, out of bounds at the 48-yard line. 15-yard carry there for the sophomore running back.
And that's why Burrow is such a beautiful counterbalance to Freiermuth. Freiermuth's going to run north and south. He's going to hit you hard. He's going to go absolutely straight through the line of scrimmage. Burrow's a little bit more shifty. You get him to the outside, he's going to make people miss. He's a little bit shorter. And by having kind of dynamic running backs like that, it allows you to open up the playbook on offense.
Well, this is like lightning and thunder at its best.
Absolutely.
South of 6 minutes to go here.
Some Aaron Jones qualities.
Yeah, well, that's one way of putting it. Look at the snap here to Arnold. Up the middle, Burrow. And he falls down, but he's still going to fight, and the ball's going to come out. I think he was down before. Park certainly disagrees.
They're going to say down by contact, but that could have been a huge play for this Park defense in terms of momentum.
That could have been a huge play for Burrow if he stayed on his feet.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been really impressed by Burrow, whether it's the season opener or the home opener here. Every single time he touches the ball, it's I'm either getting 6 yards or I'm going to the house.
Absolutely. I mean, it's beautiful to see a running back do things like that. And if you're a Hastings fan, you got to see more of it here so far in this football game. You trail 7-0, and we're quickly approaching halftime.
The thing is, you hope it doesn't get predictable where they know every time Burrow touches the ball, it's going to be an outside run. Every time a Freiermuth smash up the middle. Receiver in motion, Arnold, and he's going to get absolutely blasted. Ball is out.
Talk about pressure getting home. He had barely received the ball from the center, and he was getting hit. That Park defensive line and some of those linebackers shooting gaps perfectly and laying a hit on the quarterback, Axel Arnold.
Good Lord, that was a huge hit. Ball was recovered by Ben Witt. That hurt my back, and I'm all the way up in the stands.
And that's one of those plays where you kind of got to get lucky. If you get hit that fast, it's almost always going to be a fumble, and you got to hope one of your offensive linemen jumps on it like they did right there.
It's always the hits you never see. We have a receiver in motion, low snap, handoff, Freiermuth to the near side. He got every yard that was available, and that was a major hit there. You could hear the helmets clanking on that one. He's going to be well short of the first down.
Big-time hit, and you got to think that's going to give some momentum to this Park defense, which started out the game getting gashed like Swiss cheese, and now they've turned it around and they've got Hastings in a 4th and long here, which could be a swing play for the second quarter and potentially the game.
Took out the poor kid in his street clothes.
Woo! Just laying the wood out there near the sideline.
So it's a 4th down and 8.
An interesting formation. They've got 2 people back here to receive for this Park special teams unit.
Probably to prevent against a coffin corner here. Reifenberger's punt. End over end.
It's a good bounce.
Takes a friendly Hastings bounce. Some blockers downfield. A major hit. And a return there to the 33-yard line. Yeah, and that's...
Yeah.
That's certainly a penalty there.
There comes the laundry.
Huge blindside hit there by a Wolfpack player.
We've become so accustomed to it here in this first half.
And that's really unfortunate for the Wolfpack. That was a great return from essentially nothing.
Yeah. And you just got to be smarter than that. It's a mental mistake.
Especially in a game where field position, I mean, this is every game, but field position is really dominating the game. We don't see 90-yard drives here. It's we start near midfield, and maybe we can try to, well, I mean, there's only been one score, but.
Well, that's the thing. I completely agree. I mean, we're not exactly in a shootout here with 3 minutes to go left in this first half. Every single yard matters. And to essentially negate a really good return on a decent punt is unfortunate if you're a Park fan.
So instead of starting at about the 33-yard line, it's going to be here at the 18-yard line. Barth, snap, hands it off to the running back, another inside run, but that one not quite as successful as a 27-yard touchdown.
And you have to assume, are they setting it up with that inside run to potentially go back to that sweep action, which gave Park the only score of the game so far?
Well, and you wonder, too, I mean, most plays in high school football are runs.
Yes.
And with every single team, you know, some more than others, but 5 runs, 6 runs, and then we take a shot down the field.
Absolutely. You condition them to know what's coming, and every time they've motioned so far, it's been an inside handoff. See, and this
Going to
is
be
the
a
shot.
throw this time.
Yeah.
Throw down the field, and that was severely underthrown and or overthrown, depending on where that one was going.
And that's the thing we were just talking about is you condition them to think that. When it's motion, it's a run up the middle, and you go play action right there, you take a shot down the field, and which every single wide receiver is one-on-one coverage. Those are the plays you have to take advantage of if you want to break this game open.
Critical 3rd down and 9 here. Perryman, the receiver, at the top of the screen. At the bottom, we have Bennett Morris. Another 3-man motion.
Chance for Hastings to force a 3-and-out here and give their offense some life.
Barth gets the snap, hands it off to the running back. This one going to the outside, now back to the inside, and Dominic Atkins on the carry is going to get taken down. He's not going to get much.
And you got to assume the special teams unit will jog onto the field, which it looks like they're doing. Now Hastings really has to take advantage of this. 2.5 minutes to go in this first half, trailing 7-0. Got to get some points on the board here.
Well, and I forget, who gets the second half kickoff?
Put me on the spot like that. I'm trying to think.
Because I believe it's Hastings.
I'm always bad about that.
Punt here, that one.
I think you're right. Yeah,
Not very close to being
I think
blocked.
Park went 3-and-out to start, and then Hastings started out near midfield. So
Fair catch there by Milner at the 46-yard line.
should be Raiders football to start. And this is a big time drive as well. You got 2.5 minutes left. Chew some clock, get down there, put some points on the board. You come out of the half and score again. Now you're looking at a nice lead. So this is finishing halves strong, which you go back to the stats that we talked about in the pregame. Hastings has done that historically this season. They scored 6 points in the second quarter last week and then 6 points in the fourth quarter as well. So this is a team that has finished halves fairly well.
Well, and they do have all 3 timeouts, and you talk about chewing the clock. With all due respect, the way this offense works, it's run heavy, so I don't think they can get down the field in 15 seconds. I think it's going to take some time.
That's a good point, and anything to save a possession here.
Arnold rolls out. Chucked
hit.
that one. Catch is made there on the plus side of the field by Milner.
Arnold got crushed. Rolling left out of the backfield. Completes the pass, and that's the thing. If you're trailing in a 1-score game, a couple minutes left in the half, you got to move the football. Standing in, taking a hit, and completing the pass is a great play right there.
So just north of 2 minutes to go here. Ball on the far side hash. 3 receivers set. Arnold, another near side. Catch is made by Milner. Tries to cut up the field, and he'll get another yard or 2. Nearing the red zone here. This offense is really cooking here for the Raiders.
You got to think if it continues, Park will have to make some adjustments on the defensive side of the football. If they start airing it out, some completions, you maybe go to a smaller package instead of stacking the box, which will eventually open up the run game as well. So a lot of options here so far for Hastings if they continue to move the ball like this.
Single high safety here for the Wolfpack.
Straight up man coverage.
Low snap, a QB keep, and that one's going to get pushed back there by several members of the Wolfpack defensive line.
And that's confidence right there for the Park defense. That's man-to-man press coverage on the line of scrimmage saying, our guys, we think we can take you in a one-on-one situation. We're going to send some pressure, and it paid off for him right there. So it looks like Hastings will take a timeout.
So I'm going to deliver a little River Falls speech here that you've probably heard a million times, Reagan Hooverman. But you're in the perfect spot here. You have a 6'5" wide receiver. You have the perfect amount of distance here to get him going at full speed and try to get something going there on the edges of the field, whichever side you choose.
I'm telling you right now, if they come out in man-to-man coverage like that, press coverage again, and he's on the field, it has to be a shot down the sideline. It's 2nd and long. You're not exactly guaranteed to get anything by running the football. Park has kind of filled some of those holes. They've stopped the run efficiently. And now you've seen the passing game is starting to work. It's starting to open up a little bit. So when you're out here and you've got these opportunities, especially when it's man coverage, you got to take a shot.
And Reifenberger at the top of the screen has a major size advantage there against Dexter Wright.
And this could be it. It looks like cover 1. It's single high safety.
Low pistol snap. Delayed handoff to Freiermuth.
Draw.
They'll be taken down there at the 26-yard line, so they do get closer to that first down marker, a gain of about 5.
So Park anticipating pass, Hastings expecting it. One's just a little draw play, which can be effective for teams that are stacking to prevent the air attack.
And 2 timeouts used in rapid succession. What do you make of that? There's still 75 seconds left on the clock.
I actually don't like that because, you know, a minute 14 left, and Park, so far as we've seen from the stats, not through this game thus far, but going back to their season opener, I mean, they're traditionally a good team through the air. I don't like saving time here. I think you either run the football or pass it. Regardless of what happens, you need to keep that clock moving so they don't have a chance to get it back here.
Well, and it is third down, so I think the timeouts would kind of assume that either you score or you don't get the first down. It's a bit of an interesting strategy.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't mind the first timeout for Hastings. I don't like the second one because you're essentially saving the timeout for Park. If they want to get the football back, make them use a timeout so they won't have it on the way back. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Neither do I.
Don't look at me like that, man. Drink some water.
Arnold takes a snap, rolling out to the far side, airs that one for Reifenberger and just a little bit over, and we get the denied motion there.
That's always what
from
happens.
The cornerback. That was Marion Washington.
That's always what happens when it's sailed over. If the ball flies out of bounds, the corner has to give you that. It's like one of the laws of whatever of science. Like, it's guaranteed to happen. No exceptions. If it sails over out of bounds, you get the incomplete.
Jeff Gladney could be burned on an 85-yard pass, and it could sail over DK Metcalf, and he's still going to give the denied.
Yes.
So an interesting spot here. Offense is going to stay out on the field. Obviously, little too far in high school football for a field goal. Would have been about 43 yards. 7 yards to go. They'll still have 1 timeout.
Man coverage.
Arnold, snap, rolling out, looking to throw. Catch is made by Reifenberger. And I think that's going to be good enough for a first down. They're going to move the chains.
And that's why I love those kind of routes. When it's fourth down and you know Park's been playing man coverage the whole game. It's the slants, it's the curls, it's the flats and the outs. Those are the routes that get open so easily against one-on-one man coverage. It's not the verticals. It's not that stuff. Those out routes, those corner routes like we just saw right there on a big fourth down play. And now they've got a real shot to punch it in here and tie up this game.
Well, I love it, too, in high school football, certainly with a mobile quarterback like Arnold, because you have the option to run. You're not standing in a pocket waiting to get smashed. You could throw it, and I love it. It's, they used it as much as Park does the inside run. Just north of a minute to go here. Arnold standing tall, throwing it. Reifenberger, touchdown Raiders!
And what did we just talk about? You've got a guy with a significant height advantage. We detailed it earlier in the game. I did. You did just no more than 2 minutes ago. It's those routes down the field where he's probably got 7 inches on the defensive back. When it's plays like that, it's early on in the downs. It's first down. It's second down. You go to it. You take a shot and you potentially score, just like they did right there. I mean, it's a great play call, and I love to see them get aggressive like that. Take the shots where you have the advantages. That's what you have to do when you have players that have that height, that weight.
Well, absolutely. Some might call that a 50-50 ball, but when you have a 6'5" Stephen Reifenberger, I call that a 6-point ball. Extra point is up, and it is good.
I was going to say, we're looking at more like an 80-20 ball. Those are not 50-50 balls. I completely agree.
Certainly not. So we have a tie game here late in the second quarter at 7 apiece.
And you have to wonder, maybe a renewed faith in the kicker, because I know you said last week it was 2 attempts at 2-point conversions that didn't go well. You see Park put 7 on the board. Hastings answering back and utilizing their kicker to knot it up at 7.
Absolutely. Well, Hedin's been a good kicker. I think that was just them trying to get fancy and trying to scare Henry Sibley by going up early by 8.
Hey, I feel it. Now we've got a good one. This is a good game so far.
The battle for Highway 61 really heating up here. And believe me, I need some heat here.
Yeah, me too.
It's a little chilly outside.
Get some of those hand warmers or something. I don't know.
Well, you were bold. No coat, no gloves.
I forgot we'd be outside. I apologize.
Are you regretting that at this point?
It's actually not bad so far. I check back in with about 2 to go in the third quarter.
All right, perfect. Well, if one of your fingers falls off and it's blue, I'll know that it didn't go well.
You just hear teeth chattering on the broadcast.
Sounds like we're listening to Scooby-Doo. So speaking of Hedin, we'll get the kickoff here from him.
I'll take a Scooby snack.
I'm hungry as well. Might have to go to
the nine topping press box pizza.
Oh, Lord. We'll never escape that one. Ball fielded there at the 4-yard line.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, there's a lot of gaps here. And the final gap was closed off there by the Raiders. That one could have been to the house.
And this is why it's so frustrating. This is what I talked about on the last drive. You need to burn the clock. Hastings was using timeouts that I don't think they should have been using. Now something happens in special team. Yeah, it's great you scoring at 7-7, but now a big run on the on the kickoff return. And now instead of the 20-25 yard line, they're out near midfield with a full package of timeouts and 50 seconds to go. So now Park looking to attack for his first 10 minutes.
Well, and Park's scoring drive started obviously 8 seconds, but 3 timeouts. This is pocket catch is made. Spinning around, still on his foot. It'll be interesting. I mean, well, but I almost wonder, points are really coming at a premium. Not that you go into this final stretch with this idea, but are you okay with giving it? What's your confidence level with the kicker? Certainly on a quarterback who rolls out. No one and that's the toughest part. Honestly, that gets a lot of good offensive line too, because you're blocking and you think you're blocking for the quarterback. Maybe you're the right tackle, you think you're blocking for the quarterback, and then you see the quarterback over here on your right.
Emily makes it first and 25.
It's a tough spot. So they're back on their own side of the field.
So 11 on the play. That's the end of the first half with the score. Hastings 7, Park 7.
Why don't you want to warm up on a night like tonight? What the heck?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to HCTV Sports. I'm Owen Ely here with my broadcast partner for the night, Reagan Hooverman, as we come back from halftime for the continuation of this Battle of Highway 61. At halftime, it was a 7-7 game. Reagan, what'd you make of the first half?
Interesting first half. Both teams, completely different starts to the game. Hastings got off to early, a couple nice drives, and they moved the ball down the field pretty well. And then later in that to start that second quarter, and then later in the second quarter as well, as they approached half, Park started to move the ball more efficiently. So I'd say it's been played pretty even so far. But other than that, 7-7 game should be an exciting finish here in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a close-fought one. Time of possession and field position has really dominated the talking points of this one. And it'll be interesting to see if there's some more scoring, if we're in for another defensive affair here in the second half.
And you got to wonder about that Park blunder as well towards the end of the first half. They had a shot. They were inside, enemy territory out near the 40-yard line. They're moving down the field, and they take a big sack, which basically lost 10, 15 yards, and essentially ended the half, took away any chance at scoring. So missed opportunity for Park, and Hastings should get the ball to start the second half, so it'll be interesting to watch that as well.
Oh, for sure, and it'll be interesting, too, with the adjustments as well, because, you got to wonder, Park is really favoring that inside handoff, and conversely for the Raiders, they were finding a lot of success in the passing game when they were rolling out to the right, and you got to wonder if both defenses are going to wise up to the fact that, hey, we know that Park's going to continue to run the ball up the middle. We need to start stacking the box.
Yeah, and that's something that needs to be watched. How do these teams adjust? I think whoever comes out with the spark in the second half is going to have a good shot to win this football game. See which team has made the adjustments, see which coach has made the adjustments, and then go from there based on who you think is going to win.
Absolutely, as we are just south of 2 minutes away here from kickoff here in the second half. Both teams heading back to their respective benches.
Getting set for a entertaining second half. This needs to be turned up.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of historical implications in this rivalry. It's a little unfortunate that with the new conferences that, these high schools are only about 7 miles apart, but yet they don't play in the same conference for a lot of sports, and it's a little unfortunate, but it's always great to see them, battle in any sport, and obviously, there's a lot of bragging rights when it comes to two rival schools.
Absolutely, as we get set here for second half to get underway. It's 40 seconds away or so.
So both teams out here on the field for the kickoff. This rivalry for the duration of some of the seniors on the field has largely been dominated by Hastings. I think only one Park victory in the last 4 years.
And this is probably as good a shot as they've had. Knotted up going into the second half.
Last year it was a 24-7 victory for Hastings. In 2018, 2 victories for Hastings, 24-21 in the regular season. In the postseason, 14-0, and then back in 2017, Park with a major 43-14 victory over the Raiders. We'll have the kickoff here from Trayton Bammert Mueller. And the second half is underway here from McNamara Stadium. This one fielded there at the 10-yard line. Milner with a head full of steam. He'll have a lot of room to run here on the far side. Trying to get past the kicker, and he's going to be torn down there at the 45-yard line.
Ball might have came out.
Park is celebrating. We'll see what the referee has to say about this. If it stands, that's a sizable return there for the Raiders.
And it looks like it will. So potentially a big-time play there from Park is negated, and now Hastings looking to attack here early in this third quarter.
So again, like we said, the keys heading into the second half, a lot of them were revolving around field position, and this is probably the best field position any team has seen here tonight.
In enemy territory already before running a single offensive play.
Arnold takes a snap, handoff, Fryermuth gets past a couple of levels of the defense. He was still going, trying to power his way through, and that's a 14-yard run there by Fryermuth.
And if anybody's wondering why this is a guy we've been talking about the whole night, that play, if you got to see one play, that's the play I want to show you. I mean, he's been excellent. He's flying past the line of scrimmage. He's breaking tackles from defenders. And he's, most importantly, moving the chains. Now, Hastings knocking on the door already after just a couple offensive plays with 11.5 to go here in this third quarter.
Well, and let's not forget, the end of the first half was a sack by Fryermuth. So the last couple of plays, he's really been putting in work. Two receivers there on the far side, Cooper and Bedzadich. Reifenberger on the near side. Handoff, Fryermuth. That goes nowhere, but we're going to have an early whistle here.
They're going to blow it dead. And looks like a timeout for Park. So really interesting use of the timeout there. You don't see a lot of defensive timeouts, and you almost never see them coming in the second half, where timeouts at the end of the game with no 2-minute warning can be so critical to having a shot to, however the clock needs to be managed with a couple minutes left. So burning a timeout right there, you have to think it was an absolutely essential play there for Park to call a timeout.
You have to figure it was if they didn't call that timeout, it was going to be a disaster.
It was going to be a disaster.
It was going to be a scoring play. And, Rick
Yes.
Fricklin, the head coach, he's also the defensive coordinator, so a defensive-minded coach. I mean, you got to figure,
he saw something.
Listen, I'm sure he didn't want to use a timeout, this early in the third quarter.
Yep.
He had to have seen something disastrous.
And that's the thing. Sometimes you got to weigh the balance. We're not exactly in a shootout here. 14 points scored through the first two quarters, and now a couple minutes into the third quarter, you got to think it was going to be a touchdown if that timeout wasn't used. So that'll be something to watch here later in the fourth quarter if timeouts come into play.
Noel, the tight end, in motion here to the near side. And somebody went early, as we'll get a horn for some reason.
I don't know what's going on. So still no word yet. Officials come together.
Well, and an interesting tidbit here on the Park coaching staff, their quarterbacks coach, Tim Walton, might sound familiar. He's an assistant basketball coach for the men's team over at River Falls.
Wow. Look at that. A lot of River Falls connections tonight.
A lot of River Falls people on the staff here tonight.
I still haven't understood what the call is.
Neither have I. Looks like one of the referees was coming over to the near side to try to explain something to Hastings.
We'll know who it's on as soon as they start moving. And
Park's going to be on Park.
Yep, so Park's going to move backwards. And Hastings gets an advantage here with a penalty call. I still haven't seen a signal for anything yet.
Neither have I. I'm still confused on this.
And we don't know how many yards it is yet because they haven't moved the football.
Well, this was not ideal. You just called a timeout.
So burning a timeout early in the third quarter. And now committing a penalty on defense. And we're going the other way.
All right.
And they say false start, and Hastings isn't happy.
Wow, yeah.
All right, this is my question. How does it take you 2 minutes of real time to decide on a false start? You either know it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, a false start is something you see. It's not, you don't discuss that.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But either way, we'll return back to the action here. A 1st and 15 here from the 35-yard line. Man in motion, handoff, Fryermuth. And he's torn down from behind. A great defensive play made there by Austin Hackinson.
And a missed block to seal the left side.
And it was Hackinson who had the 27-yard rushing touchdown, the only score of the night for Park.
So making plays on offense and defense, and that's what it was. I mean, it's a missed block on the left side of the offensive line right there. The defender shoots in, and there's just not a lot Fryermuth can do. So now 2nd and 16. And you got to think we're approaching passing downs here.
I mean, we've seen a lot of consistent yards gained, but really no chunk plays in this game.
Blitz.
Arnold dropping back, climbs the pocket, and he's going to be sacked. Loss of about 4 on the play.
So Park sending heavy pressure. They get home.
Jack Thice in there on the sack.
And that's the play right there. That's a good defensive play call, but I think if you're Hastings and you're that offense, once you see the pressure come, you gotta let go of that football. It's got to be out because, yeah, it's gonna be 3rd and long regardless. But now that you take a sack, it's gonna be 3rd and forever.
You really only see very confident quarterbacks with great situational awareness climb the pocket.
Yep.
Takes a lot of in-game reps to get used to that. Man in motion. Arnold, he's going to throw heavy pressure, and that one's going to be a little too short. Intended there for the running back Fryermuth.
I can't tell if that was an attempt at a screenplay, if that was a completely missed block.
And that was the big man, the 250-pound Dom Valadares, coming right towards Arnold on that one.
Either way, the defensive line shot straight through the offensive line and had a shot on the quarterback. So a drive that looked so promising to start for the Hastings Raiders stalls out after a penalty, a sack, and now they're going to punt the ball away.
So 4th and 20, they'll punt the ball. It's Reifenberger back to punt. Very low snap, picks it up. Short punt, perfectly placed.
Oh, that's
friendly Raiders bounce. And
that's
Zablawi, that one is going to be pinned there at the 6-yard line.
I can't believe that just happened.
Pat
McAfee would be happy for that and for the call.
For the brand.
For the brand. A missile just down the center of the
I had to sneak a Zablawi in.
Oh, my goodness.
It's my new catchphrase.
When we start doing basketball, I'll slip one in.
Perfect. I don't think the fans will enjoy it, but putting it out there.
Hey, I think we've done a decent job here so far.
Listen, we've done a good job. We've earned one Zablawi.
We've earned a little one. Yeah.
So Park really far back here in their own zone. And they're going to move the pile on this one. Once again, no whistle because why?
I saw a defender jump and I saw an offensive lineman jump, and there was no flags.
I guess they just canceled out. Yeah, the right tackle and right end. Somebody moved.
They're both going like this, you know.
It's like they were trying to dive off the swimming blocks at the middle school.
We would know. We provided excellent commentary for that.
Olympic level quality.
Yeah, that was.
2nd and 3. Handoff. Trying to get around the edge here. He's going to get the first down. Tries to cut to the inside, and he's sandwiched between 2 defenders. A nice run there.
It's a good tackle by Reifenberger.
Was Connor Larson getting his first carry of the night? Or excuse me, Amarian Washington on the carry.
So another first down here for this Park offense, and trying to get something established, try and get a rhythm going here in the second half, and a knotted up game at 7. You got to think the next team that scores has a great shot to win.
Oh, it's a real defensive affair here.
Yeah, it's
Morris on an island at the top of the screen. A handoff up the middle. It's Runyon. And he's going to get down to the 29-yard line. A carry of about 4. Really the MVP for the Wolfpack, both offensively and defensively.
And that's the fun thing about doing high school football is you see someone make a play on offense, whether it's out of the backfield or catching the pass, and then they come back and make a play on defense as well. I mean, it's awesome to see these athletes with different abilities.
Barth handoff to the running back up the middle and exploding through the center of that Raiders defense. A great carry there by Amarian Washington.
He gives the first down signal, maybe having some confidence from this Park offense.
Well, he's had 2 great carries here early on in this drive.
He's telling the chain gang to get moving.
And
then get subbed out.
Well, I was just going to mention that. We see that with Park. Rarely do you see a running back get 2 carries in a row. They love to have fresh running backs. They've used about 3 or 4 in this game. First down and 10 here from the 39-yard line.
That classic motion.
Berth, snap, handoff, Runyon, and a hip tackle made there. It was Michael Gruel on the tackle.
And that's the play they've gone to the entire night to set up this Hastings defense for whatever they want to do later in the drive. So it's inside handoff, play action shot. Inside handoff, reverse sweep. They scored on the first one, and they made a big time completion later in the first half on the play action shot. So everything has been developed tonight out of that motion handoff, which we'll probably see again here.
Yeah, they love motioning those two tight ends and switching the running back. Handoff up the middle, and Fryermuth in there making a great play, as do a couple of other Raiders. That one going nowhere.
And this is what I said would be interesting to watch here in the second half, is which team has made the adjustments. We've seen, what the game plan is for both teams. For Park, it's going to be that motion inside handoff and then developing off of that. For Hastings on offense, it's going to be Fryermuth and that three-headed running back attack. It's which team is going to make those adjustments and come out here on top.
Perryman and Morris, the receivers. Reifenberger, the single, very high safety. Play, Berth lobs that one up and nearly intercepted. Michael Gruel, nearly with his second turnover of the season.
An errant throw right there from Park, and Hastings had a shot there to capitalize, pick the ball off, and have some fantastic field position. I'm sure they'll be happy with a fourth down punt here and get the ball back.
Yeah, no doubt. Joey Milner standing at his own 25-yard line to receive.
And they've almost had several punts blocked tonight. You got to wonder if they're coming at him this time.
Yeah, this is an interesting play.
They added blockers.
Smart play. That one looked like it was going to be shanked, but it's going to take a very friendly, about 15-yard roll there down at the 20.5-yard line.
Shout out to the punters. They've done a pretty good job tonight. There's been some pretty solid punts.
Well, they really understand backspin and topspin.
And that's one thing that I noticed as well. They added extra blockers on that punt. The first punt of the second half, they come out with 2 extra guys, which is a good adjustment. I mean, you almost get blocked a couple times in the first half. You come out, safe punt to start the second half. And this really has been a defensive battle so far. Both teams have been fantastic. A couple sacks, a couple deflections.
And that's why punters are people, too, because when you talk about a game destined by field position,
yeah.
Listen, if you get a 15-yard shank, you're going to know it. Handoff, Burrow spinning around. He lost the ball. Park says they've recovered it. But it's going to be the Raiders who come up with it.
That's the second time Hastings has fumbled the football this second half and managed to get lucky and recover it.
I don't think third time will be the charm.
No,
for
you
Hastings.
you can't count on getting lucky like that.
Fumbles are always 50-50 propositions.
Absolutely.
So with second down and 9 here from their own 22-yard line. It's a sweep to the near side. They tried to get through one of the holes and might have gained a few yards on that one, and a late penalty flag.
My goodness.
Looks like the Raiders fans are happy about it.
Was this extracurricular or what? I didn't really see anything worthy of a flag.
Yeah, it's tough to see with all those players down there.
It looked like something that might have happened on the near sideline. So refs come together and
well, and the Park defense looks like they're backing up here.
Discuss a little bit. Maybe a late hit? I'm not too sure.
You know, and we haven't talked about that here tonight, but, you know, that's really been an issue that's plagued Park. They've had a surprising amount of penalties.
And that's the thing. It's a personal foul, so it's going to be 15 yards. That's a big-time penalty. And like we were just talking about, you know, whether it's special teams or it's offense, defense, whatever it is, field position has played a critical role in this game so far, and to just be giving away 15 yards like that, likely on something that wasn't even affecting the play, it's a big error for Park.
Personal fouls are always a gift.
Yes.
Arnold drops back, 4-man pressure.
Not a
Penalty flag, but he's going to run here. He's got some room to go. A nice block, spinning around, takes a good hit there, but he'll be down at the 39-yard line.
And it's probably coming back.
21-yard carry if it stands.
Right as he took off, it looks like it's going to be a hold. And that's crushing. We're talking about a 35-yard swing.
That is massive.
I mean, that's, although it's only a 10-yard penalty, which is going to be unfortunate regardless. I mean, that's a flag that can change a game.
Yeah, listen, south of 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. I mean, possessions come at a premium, and field position certainly comes at a premium.
And it's getting to the point where we're starting to approach the fourth quarter. It's starting to feel like a next score wins kind of game.
And I don't want to jinx it because I don't believe there's overtime, but somebody's got to pull ahead at some point. Great run by Fryermuth, but he's going to get smacked in the back there by a linebacker. It's 1st and 28, so they certainly needed that one. Fryermuth is going to check out. Burrow comes into the game.
And they're going to I mean, that's a good play on first down, and you're still going to need a couple more chunk plays to even have a shot at picking up this first down.
And again, like I mentioned earlier in this quarter, I mean, there's really been no chunk plays for the most part.
Absolutely. It's been pretty airtight defense so far, and like you said, it's field position, chunk plays, scoring. It's all coming at a premium here.
Pistol formation, Knoll in motion. Axel Arnold the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls out, surveys the field, tries to thread the needle there, but threw it a little bit behind Johnny Bedsdishich.
I think on that one, that's a play where he needs to he needs to tuck it and run. I mean, the guy's covered. I understand you need to try and get yards back because of the holding call earlier in the drive, but at some point you take off, just get what you can and take it to third down.
Great look at Fryermuth, certainly the offensive MVP here for Hastings. And I mean, I agree. He just showcased that he can run down the field. I mean, it was a 21-yard run if he made it.
He has the wheels. And a big-time matchup down here on the near side. Look at that height advantage.
Yeah, that's Reifenberger, who's got 6 inches.
And it's a bad
on
snap.
Bennett Morris. Climbing the pocket here is Arnold. Braces for a hit and keeps on moving forward. He's going to get closer to that first down marker, but still 4th and long upcoming.
I mean, the snap hit him in the ankle. So, to get positive yards out of that, that's a good play.
Well, and we've seen snap problems here for Park on some of these potential blocked punts, and some snap problems here. You got to figure that the cold is really affecting the fingers. I mean, that's such a fine motor skill that you need.
I agree, and that's kind of been the thing to watch here as well, is which team is going to finally make one of these plays. There's some loose fumbles. There's been potential blocked punts. There's been penalties. One of these teams has to take advantage of that and capitalize.
Reifenberger, punt is up.
It's a good punt.
It's going to get dropped in, not fielded here by Park. Going to take a friendly Hastings bounce and down here at the 25-yard line. Pretty good swing on field position.
We really should find out overtime rules here at some point, if there is any. There's got to be overtime, right?
I don't know. There was not overtime for soccer.
It'd be hilarious if we just went to a kicking contest.
Hey, I wouldn't complain.
That would be good entertainment.
Look at Coach Strain.
So Park going back to the shotgun offense. And a reverse.
And that one's going for negative yardage.
So trying to get creative right there with the first play call of the drive. They go handoff reverse, and it goes nowhere. Actually goes backwards. It'll be, looks like 2nd and 11. 2nd and 12, actually. So now Park backed up in their own territory. Four down defensive linemen for Hastings.
Man in motion here to the near side. Potential screen. This one aired out. just through the hands of Milner. That one was intended there for Brady Perryman.
Talk about a roller coaster play. I thought it was going to be a pick, and then I thought it was going to be a great diving grab.
Ran the gamut on that one.
Instead, it goes incompletion.
Well, now they're surely going to have to throw on this play again, a 3rd and 12 upcoming.
Yeah, I think if you're Park here, you max protect, and you take a shot down the field.
Low-scoring affair. It feels like I'm watching an 1890s Ivy League football game.
The Leatherheads.
Handoff, Runyon. He's still going, tries to get around the edge, cuts up. And he's going to be a couple of yards short of this first down.
I'll be nice. I don't like that play call at all.
It almost worked out.
I think you got to take your shots. They've had success when they've gone to the pass, and it's been a lot of man coverage here from Hastings in the second half. I think you got to try and just break the game open.
Well, the offense is staying out on the field here. They need to get 3 yards. Otherwise, it's fantastic field position.
This should have been a punt.
This is a gutsy call.
Why are they 15 yards off the line of scrimmage? All right, so they're going to send out the punt unit.
So a timeout called. Park using 2 of their timeouts here.
Now you have to.
Third
Now
quarter.
you have to go for it. Otherwise, it's an egregious error. You have to go for it here. You can't call a timeout to punt.
And I still don't know what the first timeout was for.
Dude, I can't explain how that is so bad.
What if you get the ball in a tie game with 100 seconds to go and you're stuck with one timeout?
You can never use a timeout there and then punt on 4th and 3. If you unless it's a fake, if they fake this, I'll put that caveat in there. If they fake this, I guess I live with it, but if they punt this football away, that is a pretty horrific error.
Listen, that's actually kind of crazy, you know. I mean, oftentimes I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, listen, I'm not a football coach. I don't profess to be, but that is an interesting use of timeouts.
We've watched enough football to know what's good timeout usage, and that's not it.
Yeah, frankly, that's a little stunning.
Chief called. He said that's not it. He said that's not it.
So we'll have Milner back here at his own 35-yard line. We'll see if this is indeed a punt.
For Park's sake, I hope it's a fake.
Insanely high snap, and it's a punt. And not quite shanked. It takes a decent roll, but it's still going to be great field position here for the Raiders.
That's such a bad timeout. I'm trying to be nice here, but if you're a Hastings fan, you need to be celebrating that. It's a tied game. They burn a timeout, and then they don't even go for it. They punt it away.
So what? So even within that situation, you had your offense out on the field. I'd rather just take the 5-yard penalty.
And then punt it away. Exactly. That's the thing about using the timeout. You have to take advantage of that. If you're going to punt regardless, you take the 5 yards and you boot it away because 5 yards in the grand scheme of things on a punt isn't going to mean a lot.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but listen, it's more valuable than a timeout.
Exactly. If you're going for it on 4th and 3, the difference between that and 4th and 8 is crazy.
Arnold bobbled the snap, hands it off to Fryermuth, who slips up there and down on the Raiders logo.
And we'll see later. I mean, we're getting close to the 4th quarter here. Timeouts will be extremely valuable in those last couple minutes, especially if the game stays like this, knotted up at 7s.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we are quickly approaching crunch time.
Crunch time for who? The Raiders.
It's like I'm in the booth here with John Madden.
That's right. Pat Summerall.
Noel was in motion, hand off to Fryermuth, and just kind of ran right into the back of his offensive lineman there, Stephen Renardi.
This will be a big 3rd down play as well.
I've never seen a game with so many critical 3rd downs.
Yeah, it's been...
Has there ever been a first
weird.
down on a 2nd down in this game? I mean, it really feels like it always comes down to the 3rd down.
I'd love to see the live stats for 3rd down percentages for these teams.
Reifenberger on the near side, Noel in motion.
Single coverage, he's looking to him.
Arnold throwing, catches made, Noel! And he's going to get the first down just barely.
And here's the thing. That is an absolutely brilliant play call. It's brilliant play call. It's brilliant design. That's an old NFL tactic. You run the screen, so the far wide receiver is going to run essentially a pick play for the slot guy, so he can roll out and get open. It's designed to confuse man coverage, which Park has been running essentially exclusively tonight. So it's a brilliant play call, especially on a big time third down to keep the chains moving. And I mean, that's just fantastic play calling by Hastings.
Hey, listen, that's how Deshaun Watson won a national championship versus Alabama.
I mean, it's brilliant.
And with that, we've reached the end of the third quarter here in the Battle of Highway 61. It's a 7-7 game here between Park and Hastings.
And I feel like at halftime, when we came back to the broadcast, I talked about, which team is going to make better adjustments. Although the game is still 7-7, I know that moral victories we're excluding, but I think Hastings has coached a much better third quarter than Park did. I mean, they limited errors. I mean, outside of the one fumble that was back there, the errors were limited. They've moved the ball efficiently on offense. And now it's just time to punch it in. You got to score. It's 7-7, final quarter of the football game. And they've got everything is in order for them to score and win this football game.
Absolutely. And like I said at the end of the first quarter, I mean, it's so interesting because there's obviously patterns we can decipher here, but listen, it's still a tie game, and, there's a shot of the away crowd, the Park crowd, and pretty good showing, although obviously attendance here is limited. I believe it was 250 family members and close friends. So we appreciate all you tuning in here at HCTV Sports. We'll return back to the action here as we look to start the fourth quarter. 1st and 10 here from Park's 47. Arnold hands it off on a sweep. And that one kind of got crunched between a bunch of players, but
Fryermuth pushed him forward for about 3 yards.
Fryermuth really doing everything here tonight.
I mean, that was fantastic.
Carry there by Johnny Bezdicic.
And you got to wonder if they'll go back to some of these creative plays that they've started with, these reverse sweeps, these out routes, these pick plays, quick slants. I mean, they've made some really fantastic play calls throughout this game. I think at some point you got to go back to them. Not to say Fryermuth hasn't been fantastic as well, but...
Oh, of course. And at some point for me, it comes down to the defensive line for Park. I mean, we know big number 77 down there is putting in work, but what are the other people going to do here as they put in the work I just mentioned in a great sack there by number 77. That was Dom Valladares. That is one big, scary man.
Arnold, from what I've seen this game, doesn't feel pressure that well. He tries to step up in the pocket. I feel like when you see blitzers coming like that, you got to find a way out and just go. He had the route out because he stepped up in the pocket a bit to the left. But at that point, I think you kind of punt on the play and just take off.
Yeah, well, I'm a little – I'd probably disagree a little bit on that. I mean, if it weren't for that holding play, I mean, when he – yeah, he's been creamed a couple of times, but he's pretty good.
But I'm kind of saying that. You got to get going and get out and use your legs.
Another key 3rd down and 15. Delayed handoff to Fryermuth and torn down from behind there. That was Benjamin Zaccardi.
And the heavyweight fight continues. It's been defense back and forth throwing haymakers, man.
This Park defense really stepping up. The defensive line really getting jinxed by my announcer's jinx. So once again, we're destined here for another punt and another battle of field position here. I mean, it's kind of like we're watching the same 3-minute stretch on a loop.
Absolutely, and now we're under 10 minutes, and these timeouts may begin to play a factor as the clock continues to tick away.
Derek Brown back to receive.
Oh no,
that one a rather short punt, and it has a backspin on it as well. Stopped there at the 36-yard line.
That was a 17-yard punt, I think.
Thomas Reifenberger stopping that one from going any further. Yeah, that's interesting use of backspin. I don't know if that was intentional or maybe he thought he would get more distance on it.
I'm not exactly sure, but now, I mean, if you're Park, I think the ball was spotted at like the 48-yard line. Now you're getting it back at like the 35-yard line.
And you just wonder, when is the big play coming here?
You got to assume someone's going to have a breakout play here. And if you're a Park fan, you're kind of running out of time.
We got a pitch over to the far side, trying to get around the edge. That's Johnson. And dragged out of bounds. Didn't gain much on the run.
A lot of east and west.
Listen, ask Michael Turner. Going north and south is definitely the best way to go about things. Bet you didn't think you'd hear a Michael Turner reference
I definitely
on the broadcast.
Didn't. I didn't. I won't lie about it.
So 2nd and 9. 2 receivers here on the near side for Park. Once again, a man in motion. They're going to hand it off to Runyon. He's going to work his way around, trying to feel the hole, and 2 or 3 yards on the carry, not a whole lot.
So it's going to be, we've said it a million times tonight, it's another big 3rd down. If I'm Hastings here, I'm sending a lot of pressure. It's 3rd and short. You don't want to give them too much time. They're likely going to run the ball. I stack the box, I send the pressure, and I try to make one of those home run plays.
If I'm Strain, I try to make them beat me.
I agree.
Because neither team, quite frankly, has proven that they can do that in this game. Solid pressure, handoff up the middle, and
that's going to be close. It's going to be 4-down territory. It's 4th and 1, potentially 4th and inches.
Well, listen, if they went at it from their own 25-yard line, I have or thought about going for it. Excuse me. And they're going to give them the 1st down. They didn't even pull out the chains.
Oh my goodness, that is.
It's tough to see where the chains are. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. The original down marker was about 1.5 yards short of the 1st down. I mean, for anybody watching on the broadcast, that is not within percent error.
We don't need a little note card to put down there.
Don't even
realize that one.
Wow, this is the 4th quarter.
Home crowd not loving that one.
Yeah, that's not a
Berth. Here's this one out, wide open. It's a catch.
Got a dive.
Brady Perriman with a major catch there down at the 5-yard line. A penalty.
I think they flagged him for a horse collar.
That's going to push him closer, and
either that or a face mask. Either way, it would be half the distance to the goal.
Best opportunity of the game so far.
And
points on the board.
And an absolutely busted coverage on the backside for the Hastings Raiders defense.
Quite frankly, that should have been a touchdown.
It should have been a touchdown.
Nobody was covering Perryman.
That's leg speed, man. That's leg speed.
That's the speed I taught him in kindergarten.
I just got some looks from the fans saying it was a busted coverage.
It's a fact.
I know.
Sorry if it's uncomfortable.
You know how you fix that? Better coverage.
Well, that's conventional wisdom. Ball's going to be spotted here at the 4-yard line.
And they've still got a shot here to make a goal line stand. But it's going to take everything they've got from this Raiders defense.
Man in motion, Berth.
Pitch.
Pitches it over to Johnson. Tries to find the hole. Touchdown, Wolfpack. Blake Johnson, the junior running back, breaking open the game here with south of 8 minutes to go. And that's a very significant score there because, listen, points have certainly came at a premium here tonight.
Now, gotta wonder what they do here because on the first one they got creative with their extra point.
Yeah, and they're gonna.
And
I'd love to see them do this.
The last time they came out in this formation, then kicked the PAT.
Yeah, and they're gonna motion back to the more traditional special teams formation. Trayton Bammert Mueller on the kick, spots down, kick is up, and it is blocked. So certainly significant if Hastings can respond with a touchdown. An extra point would put them up.
And then you got to look at Park. Let's say all that happens. There's only maybe a minute or two left, and you've only got one timeout.
Well, if Hastings is going to get a scoring drive here, you got to imagine it's going to take some time.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's probably going to take 5 minutes for them to get up and down the field.
I would almost like to see how both of these offenses would handle, being in a we have to throw the ball, we have 60 seconds to go, 70 yards type of situation.
And I agree, and I think we've seen both teams show spurts tonight that they're competent at passing the football. They can get the job done. Park near the end of that first half, and then Hastings with a couple big plays as well. But man, if it's going to happen for these Raiders, it's going to happen soon.
A great shot of the scoreboard down there, and yeah, listen, I mean, and then we said it at the time, but Park only has one timeout.
Yeah.
So if Hastings goes up 14-13,
It becomes a big advantage.
listen, you got one chance to stop the clock. So we'll get the kickoff here from Trayton Bammert Mueller.
And if you're Hastings, you got to sweat these kickoffs a little bit. There've been a few fumbles tonight, and they've been lucky enough to recover them.
Milner back deep to receive. Catches this one on the run at the 11-yard line. A little bit of a bobble, but he recovers his own fumble, and he's working his way through this Park special teams unit.
I mean, that's excellent.
That 39-yard line.
That is absolutely excellent. Hastings has done a fantastic job tonight on special teams. And now it's time for the offense to take advantage. I mean, it's hard to win football games when you only score 7 points, especially in high school. I mean, this offense needs to come alive and have one drive for the books here.
Well, listen, and you don't have to get super aggressive with 8 minutes left. You could just, if it's me, personally, just go with the highest percentage play. Just 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards. You have enough time.
Yep, I agree.
It would put Park in a really bad position. There's no need to get risky or try anything, unconventional here. Arnold awaits the snap, takes it, rolls out to the near side, tosses that one, and just over the hands there of Johnny Bezdicic. Fans wanting a flag there.
A lot of fans want a pass interference call.
Although, in fairness, has there ever been a time where people
fair.
haven't wanted a pass interference call?
That's the first thing. If a receiver doesn't catch a pass, they get up and look. Where's the flag? Where is the flag? That's always the question. And then it's the incomplete.
Yeah, absolutely. 7:33 here to go in the fourth quarter. Park desperately trying to hold on to this lead. We'll have a man in motion. It's Knoll. Handoff, Freiermuth. And a gain of about 1.5 yards.
Now the real question is here, it's third and long. So if they don't convert this, I think you have to punt it, right? Otherwise you're basically forfeiting points. I mean, you have 3 timeouts to play with, so they can stop the clock. I hate to say it, because we've said it a lot, but this is the biggest third down of the game.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because you do have the 3 timeouts, but say Park gets a first down, they could really drain the clock.
This is a really tough spot to be in. If you're a Raiders fan, this has to be converted.
Single high safety here for Park. High snap. Arnold rolls out to the near side. Heavy pressure. Tosses that one. Catch is made by Reifenberger.
Now you go for it.
It's going to be 3 yards short of the first down marker.
Have to go for this. And they will.
I mean, very quickly, a minute lapses off the clock here. Hate to say do or die here, but on fourth and 2.
It's approaching it. He wants a timeout. So he's basically saying this is the game. Obviously there's 6 minutes left, but if you don't convert this and they score, the game is essentially over. So, I mean, this is the best shot Hastings is going to have here. Fourth and 2.
And this is speculation, too, obviously, assuming Hastings doesn't get the first down.
Yeah.
But if they don't get the first down, I'm sending everybody every single time and making
You have
Park
to,
beat me in the air.
I agree.
And just trying to strip that football.
Yep. Because they're going to run the ball, at least 3 times. They may even go for it on a fourth down if they like to get aggressive. But
So personally for you here, it's 4th and 2. We've seen that Freiermuth has a great burst. You only need 2 yards. I mean, what are you thinking here if you're Hastings?
I'm stacking the box and I'm handing it off to him. Tell him to get north and south. I mean, he's been the most consistent all game. I'd love to say get creative with the pass game, but the D-line for Park has kind of gotten after it this game. They've had some big plays that they've made, and there's been a few, a couple sacks. But if it's me, I throw in a couple extra tight ends. I run that Army offense with a bunch of offensive linemen. I hand it off to Fryermuth and say, hey, man, you're the best player we've got in offense. Go out there and win us this game.
Yeah, because if you run it up the middle, you're going to have to try to get past Dom Valadares.
And at this point, they don't have many down D linemen. You can do that. Oh,
Arnold rolls out to the near side, and he's going to be sacked. Tremendous defensive play made there by Austin Hackinson. That is absolutely critical for this Park team trying to get the victory here on the road.
I'm trying to figure out what the play call was. Was it kind of an option play? It clearly wasn't a handoff.
I think it was the same thing we've seen all game.
He just boots and looks for someone.
Boots and looks for it,
I don't like that.
But I think as the pressure came in, he realized he had to carry it. But I don't like doing it when you're on the near side hash lines. There's no room.
You got to do it the other way.
There's no room.
I agree.
But if you do it the other way, you're going. He's a right-handed quarterback.
Then I just don't do the play. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
It's just a handoff to Fryermuth and say, "Hey, buddy, you got to get us a first down."
But these hashes, I'm sure they're regulation, but they seem so wide. There's just not a lot of room if you're running plays to the opposite side. Handoff to Runyon, and that's going to be a gain of about 2.5.
And so Hastings, just to recap, they burned their first time out on that fourth down play, which I'm fine with. I mean, it's the biggest fourth down of the game. You have to convert there, so I'm okay with that. But now you're looking down the barrel here at a loss via time if they're not careful.
And if you're Park, do you try to take advantage passing the ball knowing that they're going to try to stuff the run, or do you run because you want to drain the clock?
I think you play the clock. You just hand it off.
Handoff Runyon, that's significant. That's a first down and a little bit more now nearing the red zone.
And that's exactly what I would do. You hand off to your guys and you say, hey, like, this is basically the game. You go out there, you get a few first downs, you put it away. You know, you have a shot at a field goal here if it comes down to that. But make Hastings use their timeouts. I mean, you got to take them away, and then you're up 6. I mean, Park is in a pretty fantastic spot here with 5 minutes to go.
Park looking to extend this 6-point lead. We'll have 2 receivers here on the near side, John Barry and Bennett Morris. Handoff up the middle, spun around a couple of times, and he'll run the clock, but not going to gain too many yards on this one.
And you got to wonder if that blocked PAT is kind of in the back of the mind of this Park, special teams unit. Several times tonight, they've almost been blocked. Punts, extra points, whatever. I mean, it's been close, and Hastings has done a good job on special teams. So, if it comes down to it, do they try a field goal here?
Well, that's interesting because you're nearing field goal range.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's a tough proposition.
It's cold. You've been blocked. I mean, everything says no.
Handoff Runyon up the middle, trying to bully his way there past Reifenberger.
They're moving the chains. So it'll be another first down.
Park doing a great job here of draining the clock and trying to add another score to this one late.
And now if you're Hastings, this is essentially your last stand.
I mean, I don't think time-wise you can risk giving up another first down.
You can't give up a first down. You give up the score. The game is essentially over. I mean, this is... You got to get them to fourth down and hope they try a field goal. And there goes my stuff.
Well, and honestly, if you gain 5 yards over the next couple of plays and don't get a first down, I would consider just kicking a field goal just because if it is blocked,
it's
just make sure you tackle it and they're still pinned deep.
Yep, it's house money. I agree.
And the final timeout is going to be called here by Park. What do you make of that? That's rather interesting as well.
They're really selling out on this drive here. I like that one a lot better than the second one. The second one was egregious. What if they win this game? It'll be water under the bridge for their time management skills.
Yeah, well, certainly.
Until it comes up again.
Yeah, well, that's normally something that doesn't go away. So it'll be interesting here. I mean, I think we all know it's probably going to be a run.
Yeah.
Do you even think about taking a strike at the end zone and just trying to dagger this one?
I don't think you do. I mean, they've showed, especially this drive, they've had success on the ground. I mean, you just pound it away. If Hastings wants to take timeouts, and they take timeouts. but I don't risk going through the air and forcing a turnover. I do love the hard count if it worked.
Well, we'll see who it's on here.
Oh, it's a false start. They're moving backwards. I actually still like the hard count, but how do you take a timeout? You clearly tell the players it's going to be a hard count. How do they still bite? Like, you can't make that mistake.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And that's not on the coach. That's on just some player that either wasn't listening or fell for it. Now they might actually pass.
They're at the 23-yard line, hand off to
It's the same play they scored on.
back up the middle, and they're going to gain a lot of that back.
That same reverse play went for the first touchdown of the game. And they get a chunk of it right there.
It's Blake Johnson on the carry.
Has this yardage guy moved yet? Or am I?
I've been confused with when we bring the chains out, when we don't bring the chains
I don't know,
out.
maybe I'm crazy.
I mean, it's game 2 of the season for everybody.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you send everyone here.
2nd down and 8, pretty manageable. Man in motion. They're going to blitz. Runyon gets dragged pretty hard forward. He's going to be nearing the 5-yard line. That's going to be real close to the first down marker. I mean, Hastings still has these 2 timeouts.
They're sending an Axel. The quarterback's going in to play linebacker.
That's interesting. So he must be a really good linebacker. They just don't use him because he's the quarterback.
Yeah. You have to assume now that it's essentially do or die on this possession. Get him in there, try and make a play.
It's a first down. It's 1st and goal here.
Classic motion, usually followed by an inside handoff.
And we get an inside handoff, and they did not fool the Raiders on this one.
When you see it all night, usually you pick up on it.
And we'll get a timeout called here by the Raiders.
At this point, you hope to stop them a couple times and they either miss a field goal or gets blocked.
Because even though the troubles Park has had on special teams with getting the ball to the holder, I still kick a field goal no matter what.
You absolutely do.
If it's 4th down, I don't risk trying to run it in because you just need a field goal.
You essentially have a 25-yard field goal to seal the game. And that's worst case scenario.
Yeah. And you just try to boot it in just as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, you don't want to. We've seen what happens when there's too much time on these special teams plays.
Well, when
Hastings get to that.
When they snap it, I mean, the trajectory is like a Miguel Sano home run. It's a really high trajectory.
Well, yeah.
2nd and goal here from the 9-yard line. Johnson with a screen catch, trying to dive towards that end zone.
Another flag. And this could really change things.
Well, it makes it very interesting on who it's on.
Yeah. If this is a hold, it's a hold.
Your football IQ is approaching infinity. Well, and
that's disastrous.
Well, and 5 yards makes a huge difference when it comes to making a field goal with a special teams unit that's had some issues.
And now they've gone from, they were essentially on, the 3-yard line? And now they're back to the 16? Or whatever, like if Hastings gets a negative play here, 1 or 2 negative plays, this is not a guaranteed field goal.
Oh, certainly not. Hastings in desperate need of a big defensive play here. Barth, the snap, takes it, rolls out to the far side. Heavy pressure, another penalty flag, and a touchdown is made there for the Wolfpack. We'll see if this stands, but if it does, that's Trayton, Bammert, and Mueller on the catch.
If this is another hold,
I think it is.
They're selling the game away.
Because it was another play where the quarterback is rolling away from where you think.
If you're a Park fan, this is an absolute disaster. There is no other way to look at it. You've had 2 plays that should have been touchdowns,
This is the type of scenario where if it's the NBA, where you keep getting defensive fouls when they drive in, you just say, hey, literally don't even put hands on them. Like stand there. But
I mean, this is why you don't pass the football right here. Like I said earlier, like I don't understand.
Oh, passing the football wasn't the problem. That was a touchdown. The line holding.
But I mean, like if you run the football, I just feel like there's less inclined to hold it, because if you get beat on offense when you're passing, it's either a sack or a hold. Like
what's the number of pass plays and what's the number of pass holds in this game for Park?
Man,
it's more than 50%.
I mean, they had second and goal from the 3, and now it's 2nd and 35.
Bears heavy pressure. He's going to throw that. Runyon, he'll have some blockers. Cuts to the inside. Still on his feet. Spun around.
Oh my goodness.
He's working his way through. He's swimming through the defense. But he's going to be taken down here at the 15-yard line.
That was Marshawn Lynch circa 2009.
That was Beastquake right there.
That literally was.
They're still going to be well short of the goal line, but they do make up a lot of those penalty yards there. And I think we'll get the final timeout here for Hastings.
And if you're a Hastings fan, that's unfortunate, because you essentially had them dead to rights from with a 48-yard field goal, which they're not kicking.
No.
You're not kicking that. So, and now it's not going to be an easy field goal, but it's got to be a negative play here for Hastings. I think you saw at the blitz here. You have to try and get a negative play and force them out of field goal range. I'm not comfortable with where this is right now. If you're a Hastings fan or player or coach,
prove that they can pass. And Park looking for their first win of the 2020 campaign. They're looking for their first victory in the last 3 appearances versus Hastings. They haven't beat Hastings since 2017.
If there's another holding call here, I expect the visiting Park crowd to just get up and leave.
If there's another holding call, I might have a stroke live on air.
Jesus.
It'll be too much for me to handle.
You're out of control.
Our credit graphic isn't working right, so I texted you the credits. So after you guys.
All right, so this will be a monumental 3rd down play for this Park offense.
This is a major play here. They're going to motion some players over. 3rd and goal from the 17-yard line. Handoff up the middle. Touchdown, Wolfpack. It's a Marion Washington. And there is your dagger.
It's an absolute defensive disaster. I don't see any other way to look at that. I mean, if you're Hastings, Park has just beaten himself twice with 2 holding calls, and you let him off the hook by allowing a touchdown.
That is such a wild possession.
I mean,
you had first and goal from the 3-yard line. You had 2nd and something from like the 33-yard line.
It was like 2nd and 35 or something like that. I mean, to have that happen is just it's catastrophic. The game's over.
We'll see if they can land the extra point here. Trayton Bammert Mueller. Spot down. Kick is up. And it is no good.
And that's why you make them kick. And that's why you just all you have to do is get off the field there. Anything other than a touchdown and you're in the game, because we've seen the kicks have been blocked and they've been missed.
So that leads me to believe that if it was a 17-yard field goal, it would be an interesting proposition.
And they had a chance to make it a 40-yard field goal,
which I don't think they would.
They wouldn't have kicked. But then you have the ball back down 6 with 2 minutes to go and you're in the game. I mean, there's like 8 scenarios that could have played out, and the worst possible one for Hastings happened to happen.
So do you have any 12-point plays in your back pocket?
I wish I did.
So, I mean, it's a very uphill task, to put it nicely, to come back from this. If you're Hastings and you're trying to win, tell me the scenario that they can get back into this and potentially, send it to overtime if it's a thing.
Well, it starts with a good kick return. I mean, we've seen it done before, so that's not out of the realm of possibilities. But then this offense need to dust the cobwebs off and get something going here. I mean, they're going to have to score fast, and then you have to get an onside kick and then score again. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but I have seen weirder things happen than coming back from down 12 with 2 minutes to go.
So we'll get a very good kick here. Milner back to return at his own 3-yard line. Has some room to work with. Cuts to the inside. Cuts back to the inside. And they'll be taken down a little bit awkwardly there at the 22-yard line. Keep in mind, Hastings has 0 timeouts. No team has any timeouts for the remainder of this game.
I expect to see 0 running plays and a lot of shots downfield here. I mean, this is you're in essentially beyond desperation mode here, down 12 with 1:48 to go, but it's going to take some big time shots and some big time plays.
Well, listen, quite literally, they have a big time receiver in Reifenberg. You have to figure that he's going to get used here, 6'5". I mean, he's going to have to be heavily targeted on this one.
And he scored the earlier touchdown in the opposite end zone on a essentially a Randy Moss play.
Yeah, you got Most here from McNamara Stadium. Arnold rolls out, tosses this one, tried it for Milner.
It's got to be PI, right? He tackled him.
And no flags on the play.
I'm curious if they've got any plays where he stands in the pocket and takes a shot. I mean, everything has been rollout in terms of the pass play.
Listen, if you want to come back from this one, it's probably not going to be dink and dunk. You're going to have to try your best 80-yard play here.
It's not rollout, throw to the drag.
Well, I know it's low percentage, and that's why we don't see it in high school, but why don't we just try a Hail Mary and just toss it up to Reifenberger just one-on-one? Maybe he can beat you with speed.
And they're still playing man coverage.
Arnold pistol snap, drops back, airs this one out. Catch is almost made there by Rico Cooper.
It's a ball. He had a good shot to come down with that one.
And thankfully, I mean, it was the correct shoulder. It wasn't you didn't have to switch shoulders, which is a lot to ask of a receiver.
Yeah, and I know it's high school, so it's a lot to expect plays like that to be made. But that's a catchable ball.
So 3rd down and 10 here from the 23-yard line. Obviously 4-down territory. Single high safety here for Park. Awaiting the snap here for Axel Arnold. Rolls out, evades pressure beautifully, throws that one in just a little too high there for Steven Reifenberger. That was a great swim move by Arnold, but it's 4th down here, and the game is absolutely on the line here.
And for as much success as they've had tonight, they've had some decent plays in the passing game, but the real success came when he stood tall in the pocket and took a shot down the sideline, not when they've done this dink and dunk and roll out and in the flats and whatever. It's been taking shots downfield, and I think when that produces your only touchdown, you should probably try and get back to that.
So it all comes down to this here. They need a 1st down. 3-receiver set.
Reifenberger in the slot.
Arnold snap. 4-man blitz. Yeah. And he is sacked. And that is the end of the game there.
Not much you can do there. The offensive line they lost the battle at the line of scrimmage to the defensive line, and he had nowhere to go.
I've been so impressed by the Park defensive line in the second half. It's been amazing. And with every single time, it's not with 8 guys blitzing. It's with 4 or 5.
If you can win with 4 guys in the defensive line and you can get some pressure, it doesn't have to be crazy pressure. It really opens up the defensive playbook. I mean, if you don't have to bring pressure to actually get pressure, well, it's a dangerous defense.
They folded that offensive line pocket like it was an empty tuna can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a brilliant – and, Park's defensive linemen, they all weigh 260 to 290. They're all, very big boys.
It's a good defensive line. So they'll take a knee here, and that'll be ball game.
Yeah, they'll only need to do it, I believe, one more time.
Fans getting packed up here.
And that's just Listen, I know you lost by 12. And I don't. And this is a very cop-out answer. But this game very easily could have been 19-7 Hastings.
Yeah, I mean I think this is a game you got to win. They had so many opportunities. I mean, their first 2 possessions on offense, if you go back to it in the first half, they both started around midfield, and they get 0 points out of it. I mean, it's things like that obviously you can look at the big-time plays towards the end of the game that didn't happen or not stopping them when it was 2nd and goal from the 33-yard line. But at some point, you got to score more than 7 points, and it goes back to a lot of the possessions in the first half.
Well, and this was a very, very back-and-forth game that either team could have won, just like the Henry Sibley game. And the thing is, outside of the smart aleck, because they scored more points, tell me why Park won this game. I mean, it was so random, so field position dominated. a lot of punts. I mean, there's not really a good reason why one team won and one team lost. It was just kind of a lot of,
Yeah, I think
garbled stuff.
I think if you absolutely had to credit it, I'd talk about the Park defensive line. I mean, the second half, they pitched essentially a shutout. I mean, they literally pitched a shutout because they didn't score. But you know what I mean? Like, they were absolutely excellent in the second half. They were dominating the line of scrimmage. And when you shut down the run game and you get after the quarterback, I mean, it's a recipe for a win, and that's exactly what happened for Park tonight.
Absolutely. So with that final horn, it was a 19-7 victory for the Park Wolfpack on the road here at McNamara Stadium over the Hastings Raiders. With that, Reagan Hooverman, any closing thoughts?
It's a fun game. It's a fun game, beautiful stadium, and it was good to see these players get out and have a good time. Obviously, with everything that's been going on, football was not a guarantee, but to see high school football out in action, to see a compelling game, especially late in the game, was absolutely awesome. Absolutely.
It's always a great time calling football.
Yeah.
It's always a great time when the Hound Dog and the Mailman are on air together. Zoblawi, yeah, exactly. So with that, we'll wrap it up here. Special thanks to producer and director Hunter Pinky, assistant director and tech director Kurt Radke, on cameras Mike Bramer and Dave Wasilick, graphics by Kurt Radke. For Reagan Hooverman, I'm Owen Ely, and this is HCTV Sports. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.